Mr. Chairman, in a Justice Department that has lost more than 10,000 attorneys since the start of President Trump's second term, it's not surprising that the indictment of SPLC are replete with mistakes of fact and law. In the words of one former prosecutor, DOJ's indictment of SPLC, quote, falls egregiously short of alleging a crime, close quote. At its core, the indictment claims that SPLC defrauded its donors and betrayed its stated mission to dismantle hate groups by paying informants who, quote, were either associated with violent extremist organizations or had infiltrated such organizations at the SPLC's direction, close quote. But this is directly contradicted by the fact that SPLC's donors have said that they knew about and liked the informant program. The truth is that SPLC's use of paid informants has been public knowledge for decades. Mr. Fair, has information provided by informants to the SPLC been used to prevent political and racially motivated violence?
I'm sorry, Congressman Nadler.
Has information provided by informants to SPLC been used to prevent political and racially motivated violence?
Yes, Congressman Nadler. We shared information that we learned through our confidential informant program with local, state, and federal law enforcement to prevent racial violence against the public at large and to protect our staff.
Thank you. SPLC proactively shared information obtained from its informants with law enforcement agencies in order to prevent the activities of extremist groups, in other words. Question, Mr. Fair, can you explain what actions the SPLC took before the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville in an attempt to help law enforcement?
Congressman Nadler, again, I must say that counsel will respond to all allegations in the indictment in the Middle District of Alabama.
That's not an allegation.
It's part of the allegation.
Okay. Mr. Fair, can you explain how the SPLC's informant program helped thwart a terrorist attack in Las Vegas in 2019?
Yes, Congressman Nadler. In our public filings, we have already stated that SPLC shared information about a particular white nationalist group, Atom Waffen, and to prevent a terrorist attack in Las Vegas in 2019.
Thank you. And what about Philadelphia's Navy Yard? Can you tell us briefly about that?
Again, in 2018, the SPLC shared information with the FBI and with law enforcement about potential criminal activity by a member of the Vanguard America. We shared that information with law enforcement.
Thank you. It sounds to me like SPLC's informant program has been essential and that SPLC has worked with law enforcement to keep our community safe. And yet, shortly after the indictment was announced, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche falsely claimed on Fox News that the DOJ had, quote, no information, unquote, that suggested SPLC shared information collected through its informant program with federal law enforcement. This was obviously a lie. In fact, DOJ was forced to walk back Blanche's false claim after SPLC filed a motion to address the government's, quote, materially false statements. Ms. McCord, the Acting Attorney General, the chief law enforcement official in this country, made a patently false statement publicly about a material fact in an ongoing prosecution. Can you explain why a false statement made by an Acting Attorney General directly related to an ongoing prosecution would be concerning?
Well, this is something, first of all, given that Mr. Blanche has now rescinded that statement, it begs the question of whether he knew what he said was false at the time. And if he did, it's a terrible thing to try to prejudice the American public against the SPLC in these criminal charges by making a statement like that, which is really core to the indictment, whether they were sharing information with law enforcement.
Thank you. DOJ's case against SPLC, much like the investigations into James Comey, Letitia James, Jerome Powell, Lisa Cook, and so many others, is yet another example of the Trump administration's total weaponization of the Department of Justice. And this committee's hearing today is an example of slander against one of the greatest civil rights organizations we've had. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman.
What makes this exchange so important is that Congressman Jerry Nadler was not simply defending the Southern Poverty Law Center. He was challenging what he views as a much broader pattern inside the Trump administration's Department of Justice. To understand why this matters, viewers have to look beyond the immediate back and forth and focus on the larger question being raised. Is the Justice Department pursuing actual criminal conduct, or is it targeting organizations and individuals that are politically inconvenient? Nadler begins by attacking the foundation of the government's case itself. He points out that the Justice Department has reportedly lost thousands of attorneys during President Trump's second term and argues that the indictment against the SPLC reflects that reality. His argument is not merely that prosecutors made mistakes. It is that the case may have been assembled without meeting the traditional standards that federal prosecutors are expected to follow when bringing serious criminal charges.